I got my fiddle faddle ready. Tim did not become prepared this week, but you know when the fiddle faddle's out, it's Daredevil time, folks. And man, do we have a lot to talk about. Joining us this week, we have the Bone Bridger, and we have all watched episode 7. And, 7 episodes in, we've got a feeling for how Disney is doing with Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, our Netflix show that we all loved. What I got to say is, Bob picked the right horse, right? When he put Kevin Feige in charge of everything and he got rid of that other TV division because, man, Disney Plus is killing it, right?
Yeah, I think of the standard of entertainment as Disney Plus, and them 160 million accounts and they can't pull 1 million viewers. That is like gold standard.
Yeah. And it's just hilarious, man, because you can tell when they started adding the ads and when they started adding like the $2 ad to Hulu in order to add Disney Plus and all this. When they started adding all of that, that's how you knew their revenue was struggling. Their viewership was way down, and it became really apparent about a year and a half ago when they started doing that stuff. But the viewership on this stuff is low, and it's not hard to see why. That's for sure.
We are going to jump right into the comments, but what Tim said made me think of something, and I wrote this down. The highlight of watching episode 7 for me was the State Farm Bateman commercial came on, and that was the most intense superhero action I got to watch. And that hour of sitting at television was the Bateman commercial. That's was high quality. Yeah. But we do have a theory that Daredevil Born Again is an elaborate fiddle faddle commercial. So, kudos to Fiddle Faddle if that's what it really is.
True. Yeah.
Right into the comments. Nobody's skull is normal in this show. This is from I Am the Night. So many people that take multiple supremely fatal blows to the head and are just fine. So,
like the 2 guys that Matt beat up, which that whole thing just got swept under the rug for some reason, right? Like the whole thing. I mean, those guys they would die. Those guys would have died with what Matt did to them, and I
was surprised they didn't.
Yeah,
I just assumed they were.
We came back the next episode, and it was just like
he raged out like he did, like he got angry and emotional like that had happened. So I was like, oh, okay, snap, it's already happening. That's good.
Yeah,
and it was like that with Muse. We came back, and I thought Muse was probably dead, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? And so we thought Bullseye was right, and he wasn't. So it's just like nobody is normal in this show. It is weird that, I mean, the amount of headshots that people are taking. I mean, skulls are more fragile than they're leading on in this show. That's for sure. Much more fragile than
Bone Bridger. Like, I know you actually write and construct some of this stuff and break it down a little bit more advanced than we do. We're just consumers. But this show, how they get from the end of one episode to the beginning of the next episode and multiple, just like Tim, it doesn't make any sense. Like you end an episode, you assume Muse has been strangled to death, but he's fine. You assume these cops are beaten to death. They're like, what are they doing? I don't understand how this happens.
I am so convinced that they don't understand TV and that the showrunner and the writers are doing things in like compartments of we want to end it this way because it's a big deal. And instead of it being a cliffhanger, it's like, it's obvious. Like, Muse isn't, he's gone. Like he's done. Oh no, he's not. Well, you can't just do that like that. You can't just jump the logic train.
You got to do the Hitchcock thing, right? You got to you show a finger move or something.
Don't treat the audience like that.
This is the exact same thing they did in Rings of Power when whatever that one elf was, they got stabbed. They had the real like quiet moment for like 5 seconds, the dramatic music as they pull the sword out and you can hear all of his guts coming with the sword. And then the next episode, he's doing backflips and killing orcs and stuff. It made no sense, right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't tell us that they're alive or that there's at least the possibility that they're alive and then they're just alive, you've done a bad storytelling. That's what that is. So
you really have.
I would say Tim brought up Rings of Power. I thought about Rings of Power a lot during episode 7. And also a little bit Reacher season 3. A lot of streaming shows now, the beginning of the season, like the first 3, 4, 5 episodes, moves so slow. It's like, they're setting stuff up, but this is going to be a big payoff. It's moving so slow, but it's going to, and then when things start moving, it moves like super speed fast. Nothing makes sense. And it's not what was set up. Like, and it's like, you had all this time to set these things up, but like, this is not what you set up. It doesn't. the pacing and the structure is just awful. Barry on the slow. Kingpin's motivations for having Daredevil seem very hating Daredevil seem manufactured. Well,
They didn't do a good job of linking the original Netflix story to this. It's homework.
Yeah, and
if you didn't watch the original Netflix series, that relationship doesn't really get established here. You have to know it.
yeah.
and the story that he told was a lie. And so that's
Right.
like, if you didn't watch the show, you don't know that. Oh, my business with hardworking people it was the mob, dude. You're like, everybody who watched that show knows it was the mob. Okay. And so when that's really the legitimate reason that he hates Daredevil is because he's not allowed to run the mob, but he lies about it. If you didn't watch the Netflix series, you don't know. Now, look, I get it. It's entrenched in the character, but
as our
still.
friend Obi-Wan tell us, Tim, you would find that many of the truths we hold to depend on our point of view. From Kingpin's point of view, that was his business of blue-collar millionaires that really believed in him and in his industry, and Matt tore it down because he was throwing a tantrum. That was,
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in the conversations with Fisk about Daredevil, that the initial thing when he was just like, he's back, that was one of those things where I don't necessarily know what they were going for in that scene, and it kind of felt like there was almost a moment of like joy there. Oh, he's back, and then at the same time he has to go after him, which really the explanation that he gives just doesn't really make a lot of sense. So
yeah,
I think they do have a great arch nemesis relationship where fighting against this other person is what gives your life meaning. So Fisk feels more fulfilled now that he has Daredevil to rage against, so that makes him excited.
But you would think, and here's the thing though, you would think that, I get that he kind of drew the line in the sand at the beginning of the series and says, you will not go back to your old activities or whatever he said. But there's also a point where you were definitely looking like a fool. The city was looking like a fool with what Muse was doing. And if this guy's willing to come in and take out Muse for you, that's good for you, right? So you would think that it would be kind of like beneficial, but oh well. I mean, there's a lot that unpack there, but the motivation did not seem genuine.
Jon Snow knows nothing. Fisk's little brown nose are trying to get big and bad with BB was hilarious. He has to be leading the Vegas odds for who dies before the season is over. So I don't know, but like, what do you guys? The BB subplot is totally. I feel like that got abandoned and lost. It was like an idea.
I don't get it. Like, I don't get what they're trying to do there. Yeah.
They do all kinds of things that aren't going to have payoffs this season at all. Like they did the whole Miss Marvel tease thing, and we know from people that have seen the whole season that it's not happening. So it's like they do all these random things it might just be incomplete thoughts, honestly. Yeah. Where someone started something and then that was it. They just left it in.
And it's just
this season is the Wilson Fisk killed my uncle season. That's what this is. Okay, so we've got BB, we've got the White Tiger Girl. And we've got, I'm eventually going to find out that he killed Muse's uncle. So anyway, but
that's Muse's backstory.
Yeah,
that's his backstory. He killed his uncle. There it is.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like I sort of liked episode 5 because it finally had some action in it. I like standalone stories because I grew up watching episodic TV like Magnum PI and the A-Team. I don't need an overarching story, but I don't know how many episodes do we have? 8, 9,
I think, right?
9.
Yeah.
You got 9 hours. 8, I think. You got 9 hours, or roughly 9 hours. You take a whole hour of it to do this self-contained bank heist story, and you take 40 minutes of it for couples therapy. You take a bunch, and you take about an hour of it to have BB clips where she goes around the city, and you end up with a really undercooked Muse story, because you're wasting time. You only these were all ideas that people pitched, and for 10 minutes or 5 minutes it might be like, okay, like we watched the first few episodes, it's like, okay, they're going someplace with this is mildly entertaining, but they run out of time and none of it goes anywhere.
And that's kind of the main issue, right? I mean, the main issue is there were obviously so many writers involved in this between what they did originally and what they've done now. And everybody in the room had an idea, and all the ideas got thrown in a blender, and this is what came out the other end. and it just is not. It's not really working. It's really messy.
Right.
Whenever a story gets too busy, this is Spider-Man 3. This is, this is the thing where you've got too many villains, you've got too many subplots, you've got too many characters. The idea that you can take kind of the complexity of a 100 or 200 issue run comic book story and put it in an 8 or 9 episode season with the same amount of characters and the same amount of subplots and stories, you can't do that. And that's what they're missing here, and I think Game of Thrones really kind of spoiled that for everybody. They made everybody think that was really possible, but they really had expert writers working on that to make it so that every character was memorable somehow. Every character was somebody that had something very important, so that when it came up later on, it would be something that you remembered. Right now, there's just so much going on, and you can't even really remember who anybody is, and that's not really good.
Yeah.
So,
were either of you concerned about the safety of Mother Coral? I mean,
I'm not emotionally invested in anyone other than the characters from Netflix.
Yeah,
that's the problem for me. Is I'm only emotionally invested because the other story, not this story.
Yeah,
I don't even. Yeah,
you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I don't even like. It's not that I don't like certain characters. It's just like you see them in a passing moment, and it's just like, okay, well that I don't know. All right. Season 1 Daredevil. We've got Kingpin's number 2 henchman is just a great actor, great demeanor, perfect villain role, plays a great part. In this one, we have like the brown noser sticker up guy that's like always whatever. You have the other guy, you have the random mob people that get taken out constantly. You have his wife in every scene. Like it's just like a weird kind of dynamic,
Yeah, the number 2 in the Netflix series was amazing. He was like a character unto himself. And now
Wesley was his character's name, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Wesley,
So now you've got Gandolfini, the brown noser. You've got, what is his name? Butch or Duke or something like that. Duke?
No, it's no, the first that you're talking about, the like assassin guy that
the guy who took out the Irishman.
Yeah, what's his name?
Buck. His name's
Buck. Yeah, I knew it was
something
like
that's what he says.
Silly, over the top, like jock mad. Yeah. So Buck is no Wesley. It's not. Yeah. And then
that's what they're going for too.
Yeah,
they're going for that same level of guy, the guy that is the communicator and does all that stuff. But on the surface, there's really not a lot there, and so it's hard for me to get invested in a character like that. But
he is no Ben. None of these equivalents. So Thug Dog says we had a lengthy explanation of Muse's Taekwondo history just to have him never use it and get shot in the chest. Well done. Well, I mean, we got 2 middling fights with Daredevil that were some grappling, but I didn't see a lot of Taekwondo.
I don't.
Yeah. Go ahead, Robert. You go ahead.
They're going for like some kind of brutal thing, some kind of like they want you to feel uncomfortable about it and not entertained. And that is a choice that works in certain things, but that's a level of gritty that is not a good idea, in my opinion. Like you're trying to make us feel like this overwhelming sense of grim, lack of hope. Like the fight isn't fun. It's not epic. Yeah. It's just sad, like, and I don't like that in stuff like this because this is not the Penguin show, even though the showrunner thinks it should be.
Yeah. My wife won't watch the fight scenes. She stares at me the whole time and asks me when they're over because the bones snapping. Like if she saw that leg thing, she was looking at me when that happened. If she'd have been looking at the TV, she wouldn't be watching this show with me anymore. It would be over. She would be out, but they did establish it. You could just the whole of Muse, the Taekwondo, his costume, painting pictures. It's all just wasted. I
kind of feel like the particularly his fight history is something they did not go into in the slightest here. It was pretty much 2 fights with Daredevil, of which Daredevil was almost always in complete control, and then he ends up getting shot in the chest. Now I did learn. I'm not a big follower of Daredevil, and for the record, I'm not a big follower of the books, but I did a little bit of research and did find out apparently in the comics he's an Inhuman, and there's a story in which he does die, he goes to hell and he comes back, and he's some kind of demonic thing. So I mean, I don't know. That seems like it would be a little less grounded than this kind of a series is typically for. So I don't know if that's anything that would work with what they've already kind of set up as the standard here, you know? So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, he goes from being underpowered to overpowered if you do that. You know, that's
exactly.
so
I
Barry
don't know.
Allen Slow is feeding into what it says. Muse was wasted. He could have been something interesting and different. Instead, he was a bridge villain, not a fan. Now I don't know. I still think like there were bones of a good story here. Like the sequence in the psychiatrist's office. If Muse had been having a cat and mouse detective thing with Daredevil for like 4 or 5 episodes where he's trying to catch him and he gets away and they've had confrontation and it
That would have been much
culminated
better.
in this scene, the confrontation in the psychiatrist's office. Then and we were also, they had spent the time to have us invest in Mother Coral. I'm going to keep calling her that because they haven't given me enough of her to learn the character's name.
It's Heather, but
that could work. Like I feel like that scene taken out, you re-edit and do some other stuff, you could put that scene back in and it would work. Like it, but it just like somebody needed to come with an outline and say, no, we can't. We need to move this. I mean,
I think what you're kind of mentioning is where you guys already talked about this the last few weeks, but the show that was there before the reshoots is clearly still there. And that's a huge problem. Like it's sending very mixed signals for what the tone of the show is. And if you take out the stuff that was clearly like added in, the show gets real bad real quick. Like it's clear that like, okay, if they didn't add in certain little scenes, this would be a talking show for 9 episodes with nothing really happening. No Punisher, no original Foggy, none of that would have happened. His motivation wouldn't even make sense to me.
No.
Like it's clear they only mention him being in pain in those scenes that were added in too. So like it's like, oh, he's happy the other times. He's not really upset. Not that upset. Why would he be? Nothing's happened to him, you know?
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me that they have these scenes that like emotionally were filmed when he's thinking a different thing. And I'm like, yeah, that's not great.
I hate this for Charlie Cox because he's such a good actor and he acts the role so well. I mean, I hate that this series is not living up to my expectations because I still think he's doing a great job. And in collaboration projects moving forward with Daredevil being part of a roster or something like that, I think that it's going to be great. But I don't think that this is really what they clearly tried to do. What I think they clearly tried to do is they tried to do kind of a suspense thriller villain, kind of like they did in the Batman kind of thing, to kind of try to pull a different audience into the MCU. And that, I don't know if that just didn't test well in their test screenings. I don't know if the actors it just wasn't clicking with their motivations of the characters or whatever. But when they changed from that to this, I think that they thought that they made it better. I'm starting to think they actually made it worse. And I don't know that there's any evidence to the contrary.
I don't know. It was always Daredevil Born Again. There's too much of Matt not being Daredevil that wasn't always the show, that you start with him not having been Daredevil for a long time. Without the tacked on episode where Foggy gets killed and he goes over the line, what was his motivation for quitting? Why did he stop being Daredevil if it wasn't because of Foggy? Was it just
going to be, I need to hang it up and do good like this? Yeah, it was going to be that. Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, it was going to be 9 episodes of the Fiddle Faddle. That's I feel like that's what it was before they changed it.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
God.
I mean, they set up the Fisk Mayer story really at the end of Echo, and then so we knew that was coming, but that was kind of before the rewrite. And once again, the bones were there where you could have had something there that was a lot more intricate and a lot more sinister and a lot more involved than what we've got. So it's kind of disappointing is really the way to put it. So
we're talking about the confrontation with Muse. I gotta ask. So it's the street facing side of the building. It's a street facing window in broad daylight as police cars come rolling up with sirens blaring, and Daredevil busts through that window in the middle of the day. And maybe Daredevil was up there.
And no, remember, because then that we're probably, I mean, we're probably going to get to this eventually, but then the dumbest thing that happens available is Fisk just tells North, "Oh no, he wasn't here. Remember, you're misremembering." And North just agrees to go along with it because reasons, right? I mean, that makes no sense.
So I just like we got BB, news hound that she is, has footage of the broken window. What could be a still photograph, but now you can see some curtains blowing. She has a video of the broken window.
You would think that a scene that's centered around Muse in that way would be more well constructed and more thought out of like, okay, how does it end? How does Daredevil escape? Like, what's going to happen? Who's going to see who? What details can we put in to make this like really challenging? Nope.
Yeah.
Let's just skip all that conversation. It'll be fine.
Yeah. That was in the middle of an episode. It doesn't make any sense because Daredevil just pulls a Batman. You're sure he's still going to be in the room when the cops get there and he's long gone. Only Batman does that in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and he disappears out that same street facing window.
Yeah. 100%. And she's fine too. Like that was a pretty brutal situation and she's totally okay. And I was like,
everybody's fine. Everybody, the teenage girl is fine. Everybody's fine. Right. Yeah.
You can open a vein and just run around the room.
Yeah. It's kind of concerning how like little damage people like, or how much damage people take and survive. Like this is like Rings of Power level plot armor.
I feel like this show should have a disclaimer because they're trying to make a really grounded show.
Hey,
and people are going to walk away thinking like, well, I can cut myself that deep right next to the vein and just run around the room. I'll be fine.
Nothing beats Rings of Power when Galadriel fell off the 1,000-foot.
Oh, yes. I think about it every day. I wake up about it every day. I think about like that. Yeah.
Nothing beats that, man. No matter what unrealistic nonsense Disney's going to throw at us, I doubt they're going to throw something that crazy. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Matt and Heather scene was odd. This feels fake line would have made any real woman just get up and leave. I can't remember that. What was this feels fake? That was
they were talking on the bed. Do you remember that? They were talking on the bed and he was like talking to her about how like things feel fake.
Yeah.
And she thought he was talking about the relationship and he was talking about Karen and Foggy not being there anymore. And she clearly is still jealous of the fact that he clearly still has feelings for Karen, all that kind of stuff. So it was a really weird scene. A lot of the couples talking scenes just need to be cut from this series. Just cut those completely.
I was hung up on that scene. I'm not even going to call her Heather. I'm not. It's right there on the screen. It's Mother Coral. Mother Coral. Yeah, Mother was very high on herself in that scene. Like you're going to lose everything good in your life.
Yeah,
You know, they've been together all of 10 minutes. According to my watching. You know,
and how do I say this? I'm trying to say this in a way that won't get us canceled on this platform.
Canceled,
but apparently in the comics, she commits some self-inflicted violence upon herself. And it becomes a big turning point for Matt, which I did not know, but apparently that's a thing in the comics. So anyway, so
they're not going to do that, I guess. Like they're not.
Yeah.
I feel like she could do that, and we would all be confused why Matt was so upset because we haven't spent enough time to like. And when I read this comment from I Am the Night, we're talking about the Matt and Heather scene being odd. I was thinking of a completely different Matt and Mother Coral scene. The shower scene, like
like the actual scene. Okay,
the one where he had the big bruise, and then she just is like, "Oh, that's normal." Okay, stuff happens.
Yeah, ran into something. It happens to me. It was what he said, or something like.
Yeah, and it just seems so. But the whole shower thing, like this, is a desperate attempt to be more mature, but it was cringe. I felt like it was so.
Everybody's like, "Can we just get on with it?" Like, no, we get it.
Yeah, they could have had that conversation somewhere else. We all know that this is not going there. It's still Disney Plus. It's still a superhero show. We don't need to toe that line and play with it. Thug Dog. North agreeing to go along. This is what you talked about. With Fist lie is too convenient, may or not. Nobody can change forensic evidence and reports just by being intimidating. Now, you got to remember, though.
I mean, there were witnesses, right? I mean, there were witnesses.
This is Fisk's handpicked squad of dirty cops.
Right.
You got to remember that his
But
task.
apparently he's really established that. Like he's really.
Yeah, he gave him that one pep talk in the parking garage. I mean, they're going to die for him now, right?
That's right.
This is true.
And
yeah.
how?
And once again, man, just the underlying obvious politics of what they're trying to show to relate to modern day America is something that just kills me. You know what I mean? It's like they think this is. It's like they think this is Trump just saying to Musk, "Oh yes, this is the stuff that we need to get rid of in Doge." You know, that's exactly. It's just like the parallelism is right there with what they're trying to draw. The politician in power can just speak things into existence. This is how life works, and it's corrupt, but it's not that corrupt, people. And if you believe it is, you're really, really, really naive.
The tonal switch. We had a comment earlier that Musk, Fisk's self-delusion that he is the good guy when he's talking about his business and how he made blue-collar millionaires. It was so much that one of our commenters was like, this is silly, like he's lying about what happened, right? But then later in the same episode, this guy that's convinced himself he's the good guy and he's doing the right thing calls his task force of cops the thin dark line or the thin black line. I can't remember, but like, in what world does the guy who thinks he's the good guy call his cops the thin dark line instead of the thin blue line? I mean, I guess they think they're being subtle by changing that one word, but
yeah.
I mean, and it just goes back once again to all modern politics. All systems are corrupt. The police force is corrupt. All the government systems are corrupt. All of these things, and it's not. It's not like that. You know,
I was going to be more interested in the rogue sector group of them. Like that was kind of appealing to me. Like the idea that they idolized the Punisher and they started kind of like
that went away. That went away.
I liked the rogueness of like there's a group of them and they're twisted it, and because they've gone down that road, they're doing bad things too, and now they're in a whole mess. I thought that was intriguing, but it's not that. Like that's not what we're watching.
Yeah. Well, okay. White Tiger, not the niece White Tiger, which obviously will be established by the end of this series because every Disney Plus series exists to establish a young Avenger. But the White Tiger who got capped in the head, that one, he goes into the subway platform and finds two of these rogue cops with the Punisher tattoos beating the crap out of somebody. When he asks about it, they don't identify themselves as cops.
Oh, no.
No, they're just like, mind your own business. And they have to be doing something nefarious, even if they're like overzealous cops, which is kind of what we're getting now. This is what the Fist thinks. Oh, they're not dirty. They're just overzealous. An overzealous cop would still identify themselves to a random bystander as a cop.
Yeah.
They have to be doing something dirty. And like those seeds were all planted with that White Tiger story. And they're just dying. They're getting no water and sunshine. Like, where are we going with that? I guess nowhere.
Right.
It's like, go ahead.
I just think the writers, either there's a broken up group, the showrunner didn't take the time to either fix that or something, because like, I don't really get it. Like, I don't really get why they would kind of start something and not finish it. Like start something and not finish it. Even if it's like a character detail or a conversation, there's a lot of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last time that all of us were on together, it's been a while since all of us have talked about this show, right? A couple weeks. And the last time we were on, we were talking about how like that cop network, that Punisher cop network could be the real villain the whole time. You know what I mean? And it's way by the wayside. Like wasn't in either episode last week, wasn't in this episode. And it was a convenient way to kill Hector, but that was it. And so, and that was the only reason that it was there.
I was totally ready for Frank to tell one of those cops, I'm not wearing hockey pants.
Yeah.
When I wanted to have happened, the series was happening, and I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get the hockey pants line. So I'm not feeling it. Let's see what the next thing we have here. Johnson says nothing. So feeling someone's face and feeling a blood painting of their face. Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
No difference.
Yeah.
They even panned between the two during that scene. He was feeling the blood painting, and then it showed him feeling her real face. And that's one of those. Look, man, I get he's like superhuman and all that kind of stuff, but the idea that he could have felt that and known that was her face, that is a little far fetched.
Yeah, it's a little.
A little
You're
out there.
underestimating Muse's skills as an artist. S, more different S.
Yeah.
For those who catch the reference out there, the S in it. But anyway.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I skip one? Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah.
Then we got the dog, Thug Dog. Muse actually had a really good scene with Heather. It's just a shame they decided that's all the Muse we needed. That's what
Muse is done.
It's
Of
done.
course, I thought Muse was done last week, and now Muse is actually done. So I don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
gotta tell you guys.
I don't know, man. Bullets are not
That's
fatal
true, might not be
either.
done.
I mean, this is Disney, right?
We all
lightsabers aren't fatal. We all know that. So
yeah,
one of the first times we all talked, we were reviewing a movie on Real Comic Book Cinema. We had all just seen Ant-Man and the Ant-Man Quantumania.
Yeah,
and at the time, I didn't hate it. I didn't understand exactly why everybody was so mad about Kang being defeated. But now I'm really starting to understand it, because this episode, I was just looking at my watch the whole time Muse was on screen, because he had been nerfed. Like he's not a threat. Matt announced in the beginning of this episode, when he's arguing with the former cop, his investigator, Matt tells the guy, I found him in like an hour.
Yeah. Wasn't hard.
Yeah. And Matt's like, I found him in like an hour and
one less body is dead, Well,
yeah.
That kind of
So
thing.
he announces how easy it is for him to find Muse and take Muse out at the top episode. So like, why are we still spending time with this guy? I'm watching all of his scenes thinking like, Matt found him in an hour. He'll find him in another hour. He'll kick his butt again, and then we'll be done with it. Like, why are we even bothering with this?
You want to know what this was? This has been a very long, drawn-out episode of Criminal Minds, okay? Where they're going to find the serial killer, okay? That he's made that one mistake on that one thing that fits his profile that they've probably mentioned 5 or 6 times. And sooner or later, they'll find him, and he'll be exactly in the same spot that they expected him to be in. And all that. It was exactly like that, man. Okay, and except it took us this many episodes to get here. I mean, this was 2 episodes instead of 1. But there you go, and that's what it is. And so it's very bad. I agree with you, Dan. I think that there were the bones of a story here that could have been a little more drawn out. Maybe Muse actually surprises him with his Taekwondo skills once and kind of knocks him down and gives him the look before he gets away. Maybe he kind of scoots by him a few times and is a few steps ahead of Matt. There's a lot of that could have been the back and forth, and we didn't really get any of that because they've been too focused on everything else. They've been too focused on Fisk. They've been too focused on the mob. They've been too focused on, at the very first episode, it was Bullseye. And then there's all this other stuff. It's all noise. Okay. It's all noise. They were supposed to be focusing on Muse, and they gave us very, very little Muse at all.
And it's like Bonebridger said, like they're so obsessed with the cliffhanger that they can't write a scene where Muse has a plan to get away, and he gets away, and you're like, oh man, I wonder if he's ever going to catch him, because they have to leave you with the cliffhanger of, did Matt just kill him? Right. They can't leave you with the end of like, oh, he got away. Will Matt catch him again?
Right.
Yeah.
They won't do that.
They don't leave it with that. They're just like,
Yeah. He's dangling from the Billy Club rope. Maybe
the cliffhanger right now might be that he's alive, and we're all just like, oh, how? Like now we're really got questions.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember? Do you guys remember when
he'll just be alive?
Do you guys remember when the first season of Luke Cage came out? Right.
Yeah.
And they had some really good stuff the first half of that season. You had Mahershala Ali doing Cottonmouth, and he was doing a bang up job with Cottonmouth. And then all of a sudden, halfway through, they kill Cottonmouth and they bring in Diamondback, and it was the dumbest thing imaginable. Do you guys remember that? And you're just like, why? Why did they do that? They had such a good thing going. Why did they ruin the bones of what was a good story by complicating it with another villain they didn't need to bring in, make it a lot less realistic? All that stuff, it just didn't make sense. And now I kind of feel like I did in that season, like I did with this season. It's like when trying to improve it, they made it worse. And I feel like I would have much preferred just the Muse story than this kind of jumbled mess that they ended up giving us that included Muse.
Any one of these stories by itself would have been better. The Muse story, the Dirty Cop story, the Wilson Fisk as mayor story. Any of those could stand all by themselves and have been a better story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Way better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And are we done with Punisher? Do you guys think we get any more Punisher?
Don't think
Yeah,
so.
I think we will just at the very end.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
2 scenes.
Maybe just another.
There'll be a tease into the special that's coming out, and that's it. I don't think that we're going to get any useful Punisher. I don't think he's going to show up and do anything useful. I think
His
there will
special
be a
will
tease.
probably be better than this.
Yeah.
Like his special will probably be way better. Like
Well,
yeah.
But it is
That's
Disney,
like
so we'll
all-
see.
I think this cop network might be the bad guy in the special. So a lot of this might have been just
Oh,
Yeah.
if that
foreshadowing.
happened, then it's gonna be real bad. Like it's just gonna be a real big like
Mhm.
yeah.
This
Yeah.
and this series is going to have more dangling plot threads than Claremont's X-Men run. I mean,
Yeah.
Cap the White Tiger with the Punisher on his chest.
We may never find out.
That hasn't been brought up since the conversation with Frank.
Well, that makes sense to me because that wasn't in the original show probably or was. So like the add-in stuff doesn't have that. Like half the show doesn't even know that happened.
half the time they're walking around not even knowing about that.
They're like, oh, who was that guy? Like,
You know something else that has not been mentioned at all in this series that we at least somewhat of an allusion to throughout everything else. We haven't seen any mention of the blip at all. Like, have you guys noticed that? Like,
No.
at the very least, all the other projects leading up to this, there's at least some kind of little blurb about it. You know what I mean? Somewhere, or some implication about, something that was inconvenienced or set back or something that's going on because of it. There is no mention of the blip at all. It's like it never happened. And honestly, like, I know they're trying to go more grounded, but if you're actually introducing it into this universe, which you know they are, they connected us to Kamala. So we know they're trying to introduce us and connect us to that universe. He showed up in She-Hulk. He showed up in Echo, right? So you've got to have you've got to at least mention it. Something like that, you have to at least mention, right? I mean, and this is New York. There's all kinds of references to stuff that happened in New York.
They've missed all the low-hanging interconnected fruit. They missed talking about the Daily Bugle instead of the New York Times. They missed
absolutely
Latveria as opposed to
Latvia.
Latvia. They missed all that low-hanging stuff. But then we get a whole episode that I guess was designed to show us Miss Marvel's dad also lives here. So
just spend a lot of time, and it didn't even lead to anything. Like,
And we haven't even touched on the cliffhanger and the intrigue that we're all supposed to be broken up about by the end of this episode. So apparently when the Kingpin makes an order, that has to be co-signed by Vanessa now. She has to have secret meetings under overpasses to let the guys know. Now, you all better listen to Wilson because that came from me. And then, like, we're all supposed to be sitting here like, are you guys pins and needles trying to, like, really wondering if Vanessa told Fisk and that's why he had Butch or Buck or whatever his name is waiting in the darkness? Or was she really just trying to double cross Fisk and he just figured it out? I mean, you guys are just really hyped trying to figure that out.
And that's the thing I think that they want us to think. They want us to think that it wasn't her setting the guy up, that it was her setting Fisk up, because he said something along the lines of, be sure to tell Mrs. Fisk that I'll be bringing her blah, 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 or whatever, right? And so there's at least the possibility there is what they want you to think, but I don't think they're that smart. I think that they just made it so that she was setting the dude up. So
what's your take, Bridget? Was she setting up Fisk or was she setting up the other guy?
I hope she was setting up Fisk.
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued by her.
I would love it if he killed her.
Honestly, like, I don't think I can handle more conversations with them.
I know.
Now, here's the next question. What are the odds that they don't mention it again for the rest of the series? It's not brought up
100%. 101%.
Yeah.
Well, and that's this is clearly a different set of writers than wrote the next 2 episodes.
Yeah, the next writers didn't even know that happened.
No, and in fact, that guy probably didn't even die. If you really want to know the truth,
no, he's fine.
That guy will.
He
show
might
up
be in
and
the next episode.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
He'll be in the next episode, and he'll be perfectly fine.
Now, these episodes, from episode to episode, it feels like, and there's 2 camps on this. It's like when you got done watching WandaVision and you went to see Multiverse of Madness, and half of everybody blames WandaVision and the other half blames Multiverse of Madness because the two don't work in conjunction together. The show ends with a redemption arc. The movie begins with her as a mustache twirling villain, so it doesn't work. But that was a show with a completely different like crew, showrunner. The only person who worked on both things was one actress. This is one show, and from episode to episode, the disconnect is just as bad.
Right. No, it really is. It's mind-boggling. I would love to know like who did what, when, and how it went.
Yeah. And this showrunner was so cocky.
He was so arrogant.
I honestly do believe what's going to come out when it's obvious that the viewership is so low. I think it's going to come out. This guy is going to start blaming the studio. We're going to see it. It's going to be like, it's going to be Snyder all over again. My original vision for the show before everybody got involved was so much better. And then there are going to be people calling for the original release. I'm waiting on that to happen because I know it's going to. Because people are so dense, they actually think it's going to be substantially better. It's going to be better, but it's not going to be that much better, guys. Okay? Just like the Snyder Cut. It's like, okay, it's better, but was it really this monumental, life-changing event that we were promised? Absolutely not.
Hey, release the Fiddle Faddle Cut. Release the Fiddle Faddle. Original conception, the felonious Fiddle Faddle fiasco was the crux of the whole series. That's what made him quit being Daredevil, was his realization that everything is so corrupt that you can't get fiddle faddle. So why is he beating up, underprivileged people in alleys?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, why have we come to this point? Yeah.
That was the original show, and it needs to be released.
Definitely.
Do we see a way forward? Do you have ideas that this could end up like we were all pretty hopeful through the last time we talked, episode 4, I think it was. Could it redeem itself I don't know. Where are we rating it now? And do we think it can get better? I think Charlie Cox is still doing a good job. Vincent D'Onofrio is still doing a good job. And there are individual scenes, which if you take them completely out of context, can be good. Like the scene with Karen and Muse. So, I'm sorry, folks. Mother Coral. And Muse. Not Karen and not Heather. Mother Coral. Anyway, I'm not giving this an F. I'm struggling between. I think I'm going to give it a D plus because it's on D plus. I'm giving it. I was going to give it C minus, but it's not C minus good. It's barely. It's a little better than barely passing. It's like a 68. On the old. That's where I'm at. I don't know if it can get any better than that. I don't think this can move itself into C territory by the end of the series. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope at this point, honestly. Like, I can't say it's like as bad as some shows I've hated. It's just very disappointing for me. Just disappointing.
Yeah, I would rate it a 6 out of 10 at the moment, and I think there's a lot of possibility that could drop with the next couple episodes. I think, I agree with you, Dan. A D. I wouldn't give it a flunking grade, but I would say they swung and missed hard. They left a lot on the table here. This is a property that you've got to hit out of the park because the Daredevil is such a good property, and they just totally dropped the ball. I feel like they're going to do that with a lot of the big properties that are coming up, and that's going to be unfortunate. I feel like Fantastic Four is going to be one of those projects that we're going to look at and we're going to be like, why did they do this with Fantastic Four? And I just don't know that there's going to be anything that they put out that's going to meet my expectations enough where I'm going to say I just absolutely loved that. Anything that matters, I should say. You could do another parody like Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'd be all in for all the nonsense. But if you're going to try to give me something that matters, I just don't think I'm going to be able to rate it above a 5 or a 6. That's just about where it's at.
But we just know that Bob, as in Bob Iger, made the right decision to fully back Kev and get rid of Jeff Loeb running the TV division. Ike Perlmutter needed to be out there with his council of comic book creators with like Mark Millar and a bunch of comic book writers in it. Who needs those people? Kev is killing it, man.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got the Kevin Feige that managed to take the greatest cinematic universe and just say, hey, the only thing you need to do for that Secret Invasion show is he needs to get on the ship at the end. I don't need to read the script. I don't need to watch the episodes. You just do your thing.
Have fun. Get nuts, folks.
Yeah.
When you've got that guy, you're good.
Do you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
I gotta ask a few questions because things have been huge. Like things are just like blowing up. Is anyone else like you guys are both a little younger than me, and I might be the biggest Spider-Man fan here. Was anybody else personally insulted with the brand new day announcement that is the name of the Spider-Man movie? I might not go and protest.
I think it's time to let AI write titles. I think it's time.
Yeah.
Can we just, I mean, not even AI, can we just go back to the old days of Spider-Man 4? Can we just, I mean, can
Yeah,
we
just do the number.
Just do the number.
Yeah.
I thought it was silly originally when they were trying to do all the home titles. I thought that was silly originally anyway. And now it's just like, how many homes could you have left? I mean, I don't know how many home titles were left, and that's probably why they're doing this now. But yeah, I'm not really, I'm not a huge fan of those titles, that the MCU Spider-Man titles, but I have liked all the movies so far, so I'll give it a little grace.
I could be like more mad if they had called it Spider-Man the Clone Saga. I mean, it couldn't have been any worse for me. You know, I want to be in the meeting where that was 1A. You know, they're like, okay, it's either going to be One More Day or the Clone Saga. You know, we got to pick a comic title. So
what's really funny, Dan, is given the people that are in charge, they probably don't even know it was a comic run. They're like, hey, this sounds great, brand new day.
Right.
You know, so yeah.
Isn't there a song or something? I think it's the song. But okay. Our favorite movie of the moment, Snow White, is projected now to top at like 225 million. Who had that on their bingo card?
It's a beautiful day at Disney.
They're just killing it, right? It's just a wonderful thing. And
they're sending Pedro Pascal out there to defend their bad decisions. That's right. Great, man. So yeah,
why not bring something that I did say I never in a million years would have said out loud 225, but I thought that Ziegler's toxicity was going to do brand damage across all Disney projects, including Marvel projects. I thought she was going to hurt Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four, and I think that might come true with them sending Pedro out there to defend her.
It really could.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing that just kills me is I still see it. I mean, and Dan sees it. Dan's still arguing with people about Brave New World, but the budget that Disney is releasing is so obviously BS, and everybody knows it. There's no way that this is just a $250 million budget for this show, for this movie. There's just no way, given the amount of time that it took to do the rewrite, the reshoot, the CGI ads, all that. There's just no way, and they want us to actually believe. And every release that I have seen that is an official release uses the exact same verbiage. They say production budget. And that's the exact same verbiage that they used on Rings of Power when the budget got out of control and they didn't want to tell everybody what it was. It's the exact same thing. And so when they say production budget, it means that they're not telling you all of the expenses in the total budget. The total budget for that thing has got to be close to 400. It's got to be. And they're not going to tell us that because it's going to look like it lost all kinds of money. So,
What were your guys' reaction to the extended Superman that just dropped about,
Snap. I was shocked they dropped that footage.
Me too.
Not bad, but if I was an average normal viewer, that is going to feel weird. Like if you're just a normal who's only seen Superman like in what we've seen recently, then there's a lot going on there that's like, okay.
Yeah. The robots and the dog.
I think Nicholas Hoult looks fantastic, and I am very, very interested to see what he does with Lex Luthor. I think he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
And so I'm very interested to see how that goes. The Crypto thing I was on board with until I had Crypto doing the puppy bounce all over an almost dead Superman. I was cool until I saw that today. So.
I'm literally going to use that clip for something I've been thinking about for a while of like Crypto. No, just,
Yeah. I'm going to say I loved it. I'm down for Crypto. I thought it was fun. I do think that it was a bit much to release. I think that scene would have played better during the movie. It would have been more fun.
Absolutely.
And now when I see
Everybody
it in
knows.
the movie,
won't
instead
be
of having
funny.
an honest, fun reaction, it's just going to tickle the member berries. And too much of media content is about tickling member berries anyway. By the way,
Right.
folks, South Park's coming out again soon.
Yeah.
That's the best
Can't
news I got all day. But
Oh, easily the best news. Yeah.
So much content is about member berries, and now even brand new stuff. They give so much of it away in the trailer that when you're watching it in the theater, instead of having a initial reaction, you're having an I member for a movie that you're seeing for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw that.
Yeah, on YouTube,
and it's kind
on
of
my
funny.
phone.
And it's kind of funny because exactly what you're saying, Dan. That's the kind of stuff that when we watched Creature Commandos, they didn't show any of that, and it was all hilarious the first time you see it. And James Gunn is really good at that. He's really good at finding all the little funny angles that nobody thinks about. You know, what if Crypto's a typical puppy that, you know, jumps all over his master, you know, but he's super strong. And those are the things that would have played really well in the theater live. You're correct, Dan. But I don't know. Well, at least that scene we don't have, but it is a long movie, so we'll see if there's more of that. But
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main headlines. I wanted to touch on those because we made it through Daredevil. I honestly, this Daredevil show has gotten so slow and so disappointing that I was kind of disappointed that that's what we were talking about and not these things. So I had to throw them in.
Yeah. I've been so tired anyway, but it's so hard to watch the show at the end of a day when you don't sleep a lot anyway. The other day I was thinking about this. I was like, I sleep at like 3 hours a night right now. And I gave up an hour to watch Daredevil. I was like, this is a mistake. I shouldn't do this. Like,
Yeah.
And this is just,
for sure.
I'm telling you, here's the thing. We have a text thread with, we're on it. We've got a bunch of other friends on it. And back when we were reviewing stuff like the Acolyte, that was what we were texting about. Even something that awful had that much of a engagement. We were all cared. If you want to know how Daredevil is doing, it doesn't get mentioned.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Good, bad, and different.
The viewership, I would bet good money it's dropped from 7 million to like a million, maybe 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. And there are the people out there that are going to wait till it's done because they don't subscribe to Disney Plus. They're going to get the trial and they're going to binge straight through. But that a contingent of those people are also waiting to see if it gets all the way to the end and people are still saying it's good.
Right.
So they're going to hear people like us and others saying it's mid, it's bad, it's not great. And they're going to be like, you know what?
I like those 3 seasons I already saw.
Yeah. And they're just going to skip it now. Like people who are even planning, like, okay, I'm going to start my subscription on May 1st and then I'm going to binge it all the way through. Those people have decided, you know what? No, I saw a bunch of reviews. I heard that Muse is nothing. And, you know, I'm not even going to bother. So, yeah, you know, if it was, that's the other thing, that it started low. If it was great, it could have built. But even things like Andor, like that we all think is really good, it didn't build. It didn't It's, people try to say it's getting a second season, so it got viewers.
At least with Andor, you saw the plot clearly. Like the rebellion, we're going to do this mission, but like I'm trying to be a part of this thing, fighting back. Like this is just things are happening every week. Oh, Muse is gone. White Tiger's gone. Punisher was here for 5 minutes, but he's kind of gone too.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Dan. Andor flew under the radar so much that Disney accidentally made a good project, so they had to make the second season just to come back and ruin it. That's exactly
had to take over.
They had
make some changes.
They're like, oh no, wait a second. You guys liked that show that we didn't think anybody would watch? Oh, well, we can't have that. We're gonna have to come back and completely crush your dreams.
So we are gonna get a second awful season of Skeleton Crew too, then, right? Do they have to come back and?
I hope that it's the end with Andor.
Yeah, they just stop and quit. Yeah,
they're just gonna be like, we're done with Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, maybe they can sell Lucasfilm back to George for 10 cents on the dollar or something.
Yeah,
you know.
Speaking of Lucasfilm, should we talk about the great John Boyega's comments, or should we not, Dan? What do you think?
I don't know. It's getting late, but do you have a take you want to share in the short time?
I just think everybody that loved John is thinking the exact same thing. We're like, buddy, we were on your side. We were fans, and we were all on your side. We all thought you got the shaft. We all thought that Disney
Sure.
put you up as a red herring in the trailer. We all thought that you should have been the Jedi the whole time. We all thought they got away from the obvious, interesting story. It is not our fault, buddy. Okay, it's not our
It's
fault.
not.
We were
No.
1000% on your side. So that's that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I would have loaded it up. Nobody can sum it up better than our friend John Automates in the text thread that I was talking
Yeah.
about. He said, "Never go full of Mandela." And then
Never go full Mandela.
if you want to see the
Never.
meme I made,
I
it's
did.
on
I
our
saw your
Facebook
short.
page. Yeah, it's in a short. There's a short on the page. Go to our shorts. It's right there.
Never go full of Mandela.
But yeah, credit John
Wise
Automates
words.
for saying that first. Yeah, what was your? I mean,
So good.
yeah, what did you think of that, Bone Bridger? That was bad.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a video on it. It's made me so agitated because like he is out of touch and he really shouldn't be, because that is not the case. He was the interesting part of Force Awakens. People were okay with him ending up becoming a Jedi because he picked up a lightsaber and he tried, but he didn't really know what he was doing. That makes sense for somebody. Rey picked up a lightsaber and was untouchable, and Kylo Ren became
He was like,
nothing.
hold on a second. Yeah.
So yeah. And I feel like do you think he blames the fans for what happened to his character in the other
Honestly,
two?
it sounds like he does, which is bizarre.
Yeah. If Disney has demonstrated anything, it's they
don't
don't
care about what
care
we
what the fans think, you know? So
Well, maybe they told him to say that. Maybe they're like, you know, as long as you hate on the fans, you can get some more roles.
yeah. Good times.
Just gotta do a little bashing.
All right. So
Definitely.
anyway, Bone Bridger's getting, like he said, 3 hours of sleep a night, folks. We're gonna let him.
I'm about to pass out as soon as this is over, but this is
Yeah.
great.
When will they see you next, Bone Bridger? What do you got coming up?
I'm gonna do my
Ice
live
Cubes?
stream tomorrow. Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm working on a video for Monday, and it'll either be a Minecraft review or the Star Wars thing or a combination, or I might release one early. I don't know. I'm getting back in the swing of things. I've decided it's time. It's time to make videos and make them so quality, totally not derpy.
Sweet. We look forward to it.
Awesome.
I'm gonna buy a plain blue shirt. Speaking of Minecraft for next week, so I can pull off the.
I'm
full-
so excited. I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm so excited. I want it to be the trollest movie ever made.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
did-
What
yeah,
they
I
tried to do with Borderlands, I hope.
Yeah, but actually pull it off, like troll it
Yeah.
at least, where I
Yeah.
can't really say it's bad. Like I
Uh-huh.
should say it, but I can't bring myself to say it.
Yeah, that sounds. And then so look out for all the new videos coming from Bone Bridger. Me and Tim have a Fantastic Four edit of a conversation we had with Automates a while back coming out, and we will be back here next Thursday to talk about something. We're not sure. We don't know if we're going to do the next episode of Daredevil on Bone Bridger's channel or this channel, or if we'll all just take that extra hour of sleep. So
Yeah.
that we're going to talk about that later.
Just do a short about it, 10-second review.
Yeah, still bad. Next. So, anyways, that catches you all up with us, folks. Until next time, we're the Nerd Champs, and that's Bone Bridger. Thanks for tuning in.
Nerd Champs,